Salutations, mortals and children of the night. I am the Vampire Otaku. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I want to talk about mangas that have the premise of space. How lonely space can be, how devastating, how dangerous it is, and it being a void of nothing. Now, although there are stars, galaxies, planets, etc., the distance between each of those celestial bodies are so vast that it feels like there's nothing there. There's no warmth, there's no personality in space. It's just barren and cold and black. So the manga in question today is called Astra Lost in Space, and I will show you all the covers. Let's cover one. Now, judging by the character design and simply the way the covers look, this looks like a pretty basic shonen manga. Like, the art isn't too fantastic or detailed, and it just doesn't look that interesting. But I tell you, that is very, very interesting. It's a very good story, and the art is actually really good. It's not overdone, and it's definitely not bland. It's just really good. This story is the story of, I think it's like 6 or 7 high schoolers. I know, right? Another shonen with high schoolers. But it's really good. Hear me out. They're in the future, and in the future, travel into space is very common. Their school is doing it, and they are, basically going on a field trip to like the nearest planet in the nearest solar system. They go there, and things go wrong immediately. Oh yeah, by the way, if you don't want spoilers, my apologies. I'll try to keep them few, because the plot twist in this story is absolutely incredible, and it really makes reading these 5 volumes worth your time. It's like a Saw type of plot twist. It's huge. It's not the same type, but it's the same effect. It's just you did not see that coming. Now, the field trip goes wrong. The spaceship that they were on, there's something wrong with it, and it won't take them back to Earth. So they're panicking. They're trying to figure out, how are we going to get back home? And they find another ship, and luckily someone in the group is really good at, piloting. Even though they're high schoolers, each member in this group, and it's a random group of kids from different schools actually, each member of the group has their own specialty, their own skill. One of them is really good with knowing what's poisonous and what isn't in terms of food and in terms of plant life. One is really athletic and very strong. Another character, is really good, really smart with piloting and just smart in general. You get the picture. A lot of very skilled characters, especially for their age. And you learn later that their parents are skilled usually in the same thing that the children are skilled in. And it just goes crazy. Like, basically, all the members of this little squad have to use all their skills and beyond to get home. Their home is super far away. The ship that they used got there very quickly, but getting back is a lot more difficult because they're using an older ship. It's low on fuel, it's low on food and water and resources. So they figure out, the pilot's like, all right, so in order for us to get back, we're gonna need X amount of resources, and they just don't have enough. So then they're scrambling, trying to figure out, what are we gonna do? Is there a way to make stops? One of the people in the group devises a plan where, let's stop at every planet that we can in between, or every celestial body that we can that's safe enough to try to, scavenge for food, try to preserve our fuel. Because I believe that the ship had a way of like coasting a little bit slower and saving fuel. So their fuel wasn't a big problem, but their biggest problem was food and water. They weren't going to survive the trip with the resources that they had. So basically they're zigzagging through, these different planets and celestial bodies and whatnot. It's just an incredible story. It's super fun. Each planet had their own dangers, their own resources. Some planets had volatile environments, others had giant creatures that sprayed acid that were trying to kill them. Some looked prehistoric. It was so fun to read. And as the, high schoolers are going, adventuring through these different places, you learn about their backstories. One character used to be royalty. One of the characters brought a gun. Couldn't believe it. Another character, another character has a sister, but they find out that the sister might not be related by blood. There's just a lot of things that go on in their personal lives while they're on the trip. And then when they finally get back, they start to piece everything together. No spoilers or anything, but they do make it back, which is a spoiler, but it's not a huge one. And that's when things get really crazy. They have to figure out why this happened to them, who did it. Is there like a spy in the midst of them? It's just a lot of mystery that gets solved, and it gets really tidy right in the last volume, and it's very satisfying. This is one of those mangas where the journey was really good, but the ending was better. And I've read so many mangas where the story is absolutely incredible, the character development is great, but the ending is lackluster. A good example of that would be Monster. The entire journey, seeing Johan manipulate so many people, seeing so many near misses with Dr. Tenma and him, evading the cops, healing people and helping people in the process. It's absolutely incredible. But the ending was kind of flat for me. Not a bad ending, but it just didn't live up to the story. Another example of a great story with a kind of a weaker ending, I want to say Cirque du Freak. I loved Cirque du Freak. It was based off of a children's story, so it's to be expected. But the story was very dark. A lot of characters died. And when the characters got brought back, and towards the end, some of them, it took away the power and the hurt of losing the characters that you've bonded with throughout the volumes and throughout the chapters, because it is a novel as well. And you got really invested in these characters. They were taken away from you. That hurt. And then they come back and everything is okay. And you remember that it's a children's story, because at first you're like, wow, this is really dark. As an adult, as a young adult, you're like, wow, this is really good. I don't think kids should read this, almost. But the ending reminds you that, hey, this is a children's story, and it's gonna be a little bit softer than what you were perceiving at first. So back to Astra, went on a tangent. Nothing like that. It's dark, but it's never edgy. At first, if you compare how the journey begins versus how the journey ends, there is so much character development. These characters are no longer the same people, and after you read it, you might not feel the same either. It just changes you. It changes your perception, it changes your perspective, and it leaves you with a lasting impression, and it's a prime example of an ending done right. And I highly recommend it, even if you aren't into space or into you could basically say it's a science fiction for sure. If you're not into that genre, I still highly recommend this. And if you are, put this at the top of your list because you're gonna love it. That is my review of Astra. Highly recommend it. I really enjoyed it, and I know you will too. In the comments down below, if you have read it, let me know how you feel about it. Who's your favorite character? For me, it's very tough to choose a character. They were all spectacular. And if you haven't read it, read it. Come back to this video. Let me know how you feel. Let me know how you feel looking at it first, and let me know how you feel when you're done reading it, because there will be a difference. That being said, I'm the Vampire Otaku. Subscribe if you feel like it. Peace.